Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Human Pulse podcast, where we talk about living well with technology. I'm Fabrice Neuman, a tech consultant for small businesses.
And I'm Ann Trager, a human potential and executive performance coach.
This is episode 26, recorded on October 31st, 2025.
Human Pulse is usually never longer than 30 minutes, so let's get started. And Fabrice, since I grilled you last time about how you use notifications, I think that you might be getting tired of talking to me. So today we're going to have another guest.
Isn't that wonderful? Thank you very much. I agree with that. So we have the pleasure to have with us Stephanie Thurrott. Stephanie, you're a seasoned freelance writer and content creator with over 20 years of experience contributing to major platforms like Today.com and Everyday Health, and covering topics ranging from health and wellness to travel and food. You and your husband, Paul, you split your time between the U.S., near Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Mexico City. Together, you have written a digital Mexico City travel guidebook, and you have a Substack newsletter focused on Mexico City called Eternal Spring, and I think everybody should subscribe to that.
I agree. Thank you.
So during your career, you've seen tech evolving from pen and ink editing of printouts to online collaboration to using AI for research and streamlining workflow. So I think you have quite an extent view of what happened.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you on, Stephanie. So tell us, what does it mean for you to live well with technology?
So that's obviously a good question, good topic for your podcast. For me, I thought about this, and it's really broad. It's hard not to dive right into AI immediately because that's so big and so recent. But some of it goes back further than that. I mean, I drive an 11-year-old car, and when I rent a car, which I do if I take a road trip, it has adaptive cruise control and it keeps me in the lane, and I can just connect my phone. It has all these bells and whistles that my actual 11-year-old car doesn't have. And to me, living well is driving from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts and not being tired when I get there because the car did 90% of the work and I did 5% of the work. And, I know there's a lot of controversy about self-driving cars, but, sign me up as soon as they're ready.
I have to underline something you just said, which is, what about the 5% you left out?
You have to keep your hand on the wheel. If you take your hand off the steering wheel, it beeps at you. That's the 5%. You literally don't have to do anything. Well, you have to drive when you're off the highway, but that type of trip is all highway. So, it just follows the car that's in front of you. If the car in front of you comes to a complete stop, your car comes to a complete stop. I mean, it's probably familiar to a lot of people, but to me, it's magical.
Well, I love it. So I'm hearing a bunch of things. First of all, is that there's like an energy management thing going on here. That when technology allows you to save energy and to put it to something else that you want to put it to, then that's living well. And I'm all for that, whether it's tech or anything else. I mean, delegation's the same. I delegate taking out the garbage. So which saves me a lot of energy, and I can put that energy someplace else, right?
But you don't delegate that to tech.
No,
do you?
Exactly. So, but that's what I'm saying is that this is a broader principle. Right?
But
yes.
Well, so I hear that, and I also heard you say that beautiful word of magic, and so tech is kind of like magic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, it is. Another thing I did recently, and kind of coincidentally to this podcast, is Paul had a business trip to Hawaii, and I tagged along, and I did not do any work. I took 3 days to just read, relax, reset, refresh, and I allowed myself to be very conscientious about my use of tech. And I don't believe in the whole detox thing, put everything away permanent, and just don't touch it, because I think even when you're cutting back, there's a balance. But I just tried to be a lot more conscientious and aware of how often I just kind of, if my phone is there, I just look at it because it's there. And I didn't check my email. I didn't check any social media. I didn't look at the news. I just took a break from all that stuff. But I still texted my kids. I still looked at maps if I needed to find my way somewhere. I mean, it's not like you can't use it, but it made me aware of how much I turned to my phone without thinking. And then it made me make some changes to that, like move my email to a different screen. Just changing the image on my lock screen triggers something in my head to be like, and it doesn't matter what the image changes to. It could be palm trees in Hawaii. It could be, photos from here in Mexico City. But seeing something different makes me think, wait, why am I here? If I'm not going to answer an email, why am I looking at my email? If I'm just looking at Facebook because I'm tired or bored, what else can I do to not be tired or bored?
Nice.
Or maybe can you stay bored?
Or can I be bored? Right. Yes. Yeah. As a child, I was bored quite a bit.
Yeah. What happens when I get bored?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said that you didn't want to force yourself, but still, did that require an effort for you to do that for 3 days?
It did require an effort, but I feel like being out of my normal routine made it less of an effort because I always had a book next to me. I didn't have to look at email. I didn't get distracted by email because I was already looking at email for work-related reasons. I could just take it off. So I think being in a different setting and in a different routine made it a lot easier. And then the lesson was, how do you take what you've learned from this break and apply it when, because when you have to send an email, you're going to see incoming emails. So how do you balance that better?
Okay, so what did you do? I mean, now you're no longer on vacation, so what did you do?
So I just stopped looking at email outside of business hours, period, because there's no reason for me. I don't have work emergencies. So anything that comes in after business hours can wait till the next day or till Monday. So that was the big one. And yes, it's still there in the day, but, just finish, like being more conscientious, finish what you're doing, and then just because an email's there doesn't mean you need to read it right away and doesn't mean you need to respond to it right away. So kind of being aware of that trigger there.
Okay. Do you have set times when you will look at your email correspondence or any other kind of interruption, or do you just sort of have it on all the time?
I do a kind of a modified version of the Pomodoro technique anyway, where I will set a timer for 30 minutes because 30 minutes is a good amount of time for me. And when the timer stops, I will, depending on how I feel, if I feel like I want to just keep going, I'm in the zone with something, I keep going. If I'm not in the zone, I will take a break, get a glass of water, get up and move around, and then check email because I'm kind of already at a little bit of a break time. And I don't have notifications on my phone or my computer for when emails come in. I have to go to it to see what's there.
Okay.
My goodness, Stephanie, you're the perfect guest for our podcast. We talk about this a lot. And it seems that you put a lot of thought in managing your work through technology, which leads me to in the last episode, we talked a lot about focus modes on our different devices. Do you use this kind of features to also manage your potential interruptions?
No, I don't use any specific technology. I just don't. I scale way back on notifications. Basically, I just get notifications for phone calls and texts. So for the most part, I just set up some new banking stuff in Mexico and had to set up some notifications. And now I'm getting sales and I have to change that. But generally, it's calls and texts because those can be relatively urgent. But I do kind of do like a screen level. If I'm writing something, I maximize that screen so I can't see anything else. I use a second screen for other things. And then I also kind of group tabs in whatever web browser. So if I'm working on something and I need to have research up on my second screen, I just have a set of tabs that's only pertinent to that. So I don't even see any of the other tabs on my screen. So I guess it's kind of just my own method, but I don't use like a specific focus, locks me out from everything else.
Yeah. But what I hear you doing is that you're very attentive to your environment. And you mentioned it that when you were away, it was a different environment, which allowed you to already reconsider what you were doing. And you made sure you had a book next to you and all of this other stuff so that you would not be, tempted to go back into your phone. And then what you're describing in your day to day is also related to environment. How you set up your screen and or screens in this case, is environment, because that's where our attention is all of the time. It's on the screen. So if we have things popping up all over the place or have a bunch of windows open at the same time and visible, then our mind is managing all that information at the same time.
Right.
So environment is really key, it sounds. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's definitely key. And I find personally, I work much better in my own office environment than I do anyplace else. I'm comfortable there. I have everything set up the way I like. I have an office set up here in Mexico City and an office in Pennsylvania, and they're set up pretty similarly. And can I work on a plane? Yes, I do, because it's a long time with not that much else to do. But I always kind of envisioned, I would be one of those people who goes to work in a coffee shop or a library or, wherever, because especially when you work from home, which I've done for many, many years, you're kind of I feel like I would crave that variety, but I don't. I like the stability of my familiar place set up as it is. And, if I want to go to a coffee shop, that's fine, but go get a cup of coffee.
Yeah. And I imagine that setup allows you to get quicker into your work and then quicker out of your work. That's what when you leave your office, you leave your office. Yes. And when you get into your office, your mind knows what it's doing and it says, oh, here to work. Okay, so you switch into work mode. And this is where this is our superpower as humans, is to create those spaces and those habits that allow us to be really, really efficient.
Right. And wherever I've lived and worked from, which has been, 20 plus years now, I've always had a space that I can step away from. To your point, when work is done, I can walk away from that space, even if it's a small space, and be somewhere else and not have that mental separation from the environment.
That's the discussion because we also work from home, often have with people, not basically understanding how anyone can work from home. People say, I'm sure you have those conversations too, where it's like, how can you do that? I need to go to work, so when I leave, I can do something else. And I think a big part of the answer is what you just said, is to have the opportunity to have a space for that, a separate space. So you don't work in your living room or in your bedroom. That's where bad things can happen. So yes, I understand that.
Well, and there's a lot of people suffered during confinement and whatever you call it.
That would be confinement during
confinement. COVID? Yeah, and isn't there another one at home something? Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Whatever. Stay at home.
Shelter at home, yes. And so a lot of people suffer during those shelter at home moments because, home was home, and then all of a sudden it became work, and it became school, and it became everything else. And it is very, very, very hard to manage. And so those of us, like the three of us here who have been working at home forever, know that, and we have our spaces set up, and it was just this intuitive thing. That's what you figure out that you do. And I learned to do it before there were blog posts that told me that I should be doing that. And I suspect that you did as well, Stephanie, and you as well, Fabrice, because we're all pretty intuitive about those kinds of things.
Well, as far as this is concerned, it's mainly thanks to you because you had more experience than I did when I started working from home. So thank you for that. And it reminds me, really, truly, it reminds me also about during COVID, I have this vivid recollection of this young woman. She was working for one of my clients, and so she had to work from home, and she was a young mother with a 6-month-old, and all of a sudden she was living in Paris in a 60 square meter apartment. I'm sorry, I don't know what that does in square feet.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, we should do that.
600 more or less, roughly.
Okay, thank you. She had to work from home doing video conferencing, and her husband too, in that small of a place. And after a few weeks, I could see how she became exhausted. And so every time she called me in need for help, it was really emotionally charged because she was exhausted. So what you said is very important. Absolutely.
And no amount of tech will actually help with that if you don't have the space and you are not able to set up what it is that you need in order to have those different spaces for what you need to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because you mentioned the blogs that tell you how to do this, and when the pandemic hit and everybody started working from home, of course, everybody started writing about how to work from home. And Paul and I both felt like we can't even write this thing because we've just done it so long. Like we don't even know what to say about it. Like it's just so ingrained. It's like part of our DNA. You just don't even know how to explain it to somebody else because you don't have any point of reference for it.
You would have needed something to compare it to.
Exactly.
Oh, well, that's so funny because I did write a blog post because I was so tired of seeing these people who'd been doing it for 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Say this stuff that was ridiculous, right? And I was like, no, I have to do something about this. And, so we had different reactions there.
Shifting gears because it seems that the use of technology is mostly around, or if we follow the conversation we just had, around work. And so what about technology outside of work? So when you close that office door of yours, does technology disappear?
No, of course not. And I mean, honestly, when it comes to not work stuff, a lot of it's still on a screen because I've started using AI for kind of anything that needs, anytime I think something's going to take a really long time, could I use AI for this? And a couple ways that's come up recently is I'm planning a cruise with my college roommate. Kind of came up suddenly. She had a friend that dropped out, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And one thing I need to do that I don't normally do is buy travel insurance because it's a cruise, it's with another person. If she had to cancel, I wouldn't want to go. So this can be a half-day project, because I have no idea how to do this. So I put a bunch of parameters into AI, and I was like, how do I buy travel insurance? And, 3 minutes later, I had a good, and yes, is it going to be the perfect solution? No, but I mean, if I spend $50 more on a travel insurance policy and I save 3 hours, it's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And then I did the same thing with all the excursions on the cruise because it's overwhelming to choose from all these things. So I threw all this stuff into AI and was like, okay, I don't care about spending the day on the beach. I don't want long bus rides. I want smaller group of things or things I could do on my own. Pick the best ones for me. Tell me what they are. And I mean, this isn't until next summer. I'll still go through and look and make sure these are the kind of the best choices, but it's just anytime I feel kind of overwhelmed, I can think, okay, why can AI help me with this? Newest one, sadly, Kelly was in a car accident on Tuesday. She's fine, but the car is totaled. So Kelly has the habit of crashing cars and doing so when we are in Mexico. So, I put in, how do I buy a car in Charlotte, North Carolina for less than $9,000? and it tells you the best makes and models, the places that you can go in this area, how to get a mechanic to come out and look at a used car to make sure you're getting a good deal, kind of all those kinds of things. So,
well, if she's making a habit of it, you'd think she'd be picking up on some of those things already, right?
Exactly.
Important life skills, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess those are some of that's not technology in terms of, well, that's all AI, so I'm still using a screen. Another thing, this goes back a few years, but I was with Paul and I were both in a weird time frame with parenting and technology, because now there's a lot of things. You can track your kids, you can put blocks on your kids' phones and screens. We were kind of like on the edge of that, or right behind that. Our kids are both in their 20s now, so I kind of think we were like free range internet parents. Like we were not. I just hope we raised you well enough to make good decisions on this, because you're going to be a step ahead of us all the time anyway. Which they were, but we don't use any of those like Life 360. The only time I track my kids on their phones is when they are taking a long drive, so I can just like make sure their car is still moving and that nothing has happened that we haven't heard about. But I don't, like my kids are, when they were teenagers and adults, I didn't need to track them all the time. And, I don't know, it's kind of a weird generational thing.
Yeah. I love that terminology used, free range, digital parenting kind of thing. Because we were in the same spot. Yeah, we did it as well. It was very new.
But though there was one feedback though from our daughter, and for those who don't know, probably they understood. Listening to you, Kelly's your daughter, Paul.
Yes.
Your daughter with Paul. Our daughter at some point, not that long ago, maybe a year ago or a year and a half, told us, you know what, I think you should have taken my phone at nighttime more than you did, which is 0, because we did not. But she expressed a feeling of maybe I shouldn't have had my phone that much. With me.
Interesting.
So all of you parents out there, you can, if you're still
ask your kids.
Ask your kids because they
you
know.
might be surprised about their answer. Yes, help me with that.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And I just think that it was a different time, and now there's actually a lot more research out there about what to do and what not to do, and there's some really good. Advice out there as well. And it's never all one thing and all another. It's kind of like your approach to detoxing. It's not like, we'll take it all away. Because if you take it all away, what are these kids going to do? They're all, this is the world that we live in now. And then how can we all learn together what we're going to do with this?
And we have to be quick on the uptake because it changes so rapidly. I'd like to go back to, so you said that during long trips you like to see on your screen your kid's car moving. Does that mean, so do you share your geographical position all the time, or just when you travel?
No, like in Google Maps, just turn it on for a set period of time until, for the length of the trip. Or sometimes you can just turn on and then you kind of forget to turn it off, so it might stay on for longer, but then it turns into usually a joke. Well, depending on which direction, because like if Kelly is driving to Pennsylvania, I'll happen to notice it's still on, and she's like in the room. So,
so we as a family have given each other consent, and very specifically spoken about it, and renew the conversation on a regular basis to have our location shared all of the time. And it works really well. And we've been doing that for a really long time. And we frequently have the conversation in order to make sure that we all still agree. That's just not assumed that everybody's okay with that. Yeah.
Actually, that's a good idea. And I think in all of our cases, our kids are old enough now that makes sense. I felt as though when my kids went off to college and they were, older teenagers but still teenagers, I felt like it would add more stress to my life to look and see that, if I woke up at 2:00 in the morning and looked at my phone and saw that they weren't home.
Oh,
I'm like, what are they doing? Nothing good happens at this time.
So it was to protect yourself. Yeah, there you go. I get it.
And now, honestly, I think Kelly goes to bed before I do. I mean, Mark is our son. Mark has a full-time job and he's up. He keeps very regular hours because he has to get up, for work. I know this probably isn't a big thing for you guys, but there was an 18-inning World Series game this week that he stayed up to watch 17 innings of until 3:00 in the morning his time, and regretted it the next day. So, yeah.
Oh, it's called maturing, right?
Yes, exactly.
Well, so we started those consent conversations when our daughter was very young, and when she, had the first phone, and she used to. There was a time when she would walk to school and walk back, and the idea was that we had the conversation, even though she was a little bit too young to understand what it was. But we still had the conversation so that it was, explaining, what it was and so that she knew what was going on and all of that. And it was reassuring for everybody. And we've been having those conversations for so long, that I don't actually ever look to see. There are occasions when I'll look to see when we feel like I'm expecting somebody home and they're not home, and I try to push it and not worry and work on my, stress control and, whatever else is going on inside of my head. And then I'll be like, oh, I can just check and see and make sure everybody's okay,
Right, yes.
And then so again, it's for me,
And there comes a time too, I think, my parents are still both in good health and together. So they're pretty much almost always together physically. So I don't do any tracking type stuff with them, but if something was to happen with one of them, I think that would be the time to have the conversation with the other one, where it's like, hey, you're living by yourself, you're spending a lot of time without another person there keeping an eye on you. Maybe it's time that we, make sure that we have something set up, on the going the opposite way with the generations.
Yeah. I think some of this technology is really extraordinary, and you can have, fall detection and things like that that can,
yes,
which is extraordinary because this is saving lives every day. That's just fabulous. It blows me away that we can do that.
Yeah. And honestly, that kind of makes me think of another way that technology has made a huge difference in my family's life, which is kind of a niche use, but Mark, our son, as you guys know, he's deaf. He uses a cochlear implant to hear, and he's 27, and he's had this thing for 25, 26 years. So it's not new technology. It wasn't new when he got it, but it's amazing. He lives his life, and he can communicate, and he knows sign language. He can communicate with sign. He has deaf roommates, and they all hang out in the mornings and keep it quiet and sign. But then when it's time to go to work, he can work and talk to his coworkers. And it's not new technology, but that's another technology that to me is magical. And I see so much more coming down the road with technology that can help people overcome challenges.
Yeah, no, and you're so right. That is such extraordinary technology. The cochlear implant has been around for a long time, and I imagine it's just getting better and better. And along with some of these other technologies that allow people, I was listening to a podcast about that recently as well, that allow people who have had strokes and things like that to express themselves again, and. It's just extraordinary. Truly magical. And so if we wrap this up as we're coming along to our 30-minute mark, maybe that's the word. Living well with technology is like embracing the magic or something like that.
And when it's not magical, why isn't it? And why are you using it?
Well, exactly. I love that. Okay. I think we have the title of this episode. So that's it for episode 26. Stephanie, thank you for being so generous with your time. Tell us where people can find you and interact with you.
Oh, well, you can find me on Instagram at Steph Thurrott, and also at Eternal Spring, and then eternalspring.com is our eternalspringcdmx.com is our Substack if you're interested in Mexico City, and links in.
Okay. Well, we'll put your links and everything in the show notes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Also, Stephanie, thank you very much. And I want to say officially a second thank you, because we were scheduled to do this last week, and I couldn't do it last minute. So thank you very much for the rescheduling. I want everybody to know that. And as for the rest, you can visit humanpulsepodcast.com for links to past episodes.
Thank you as well for subscribing and reviewing this wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps other people to find us. And please share this with one person who embraces the magic. See you in a couple of weeks.
Or still who don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Bye, Stephanie, and bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, guys.